Good afternoon or evening, depending on where you're tuning in tonight. I'd like to welcome you to our third We Rise by Lifting Others Up forum, titled The Power of Positivity. I'm Christopher J. Worth, and I'm glad that you're here to join us tonight. Before we jump in though, I need to say a very special thank you to Tom over at Talix Media. He's the guy that does everything behind the scenes that makes tonight possible. So if you have any video or production needs, make sure you reach out to Tom over at Talix Media. During these challenging times, I know that we could all use a lot more positivity in both our personal as well as our professional lives. That is exactly what we hope to do tonight through the power of positivity. We have 9 fantastic speakers that are joining us tonight, and I know that you will take at least one thing from each speaker. I strongly recommend that each and every one of you grab a pen and either a notebook or a journal and take some notes, because it's been statistically proven what you don't write down, you forget. I know that personally I'm going to be taking a bunch of notes as each speaker presents tonight. The famous Zig Ziglar has a quote that I absolutely love. Positive thinking won't let you do anything, but it will let you do everything better than negative thinking will. I want to restate that for a second. Positive thinking won't let you do anything, but it will let you do everything better than negative thinking will. Take a moment to digest that. As we continue to go through these challenging times, let's try to do it with a positive attitude, and let's try to do it together as opposed to against each other, which is what we stand for with We Rise by Lifting Others Up. I'm super excited to introduce our first speaker tonight. She's a fantastic woman, and I love both her story as well as her approach to life. When I asked her to be a part of our forum, she immediately said yes. And not only was she incredibly grateful, but she's all about spreading positivity. It is my honor to introduce our first speaker tonight, Jessie Strawham.
Thank you, Chris. I'm Jessie Strawham. The power of positivity is real. Have you ever noticed when you're in traffic or somebody cuts you off and you get so angry at them, and that mood that came over you when that bad thing happened followed you throughout the rest of the day, and sometimes you carry it into the next day and the next day? On the flip side of that, what about when something good happens to you and you feel like you're on this high on top of a mountain, and you carry that into the next day and the next day? Our emotions hold so much power over how we go throughout our days. When I was first injured, I really focused on everything I had lost. Not only the use of my legs, but the use of my bowel and bladder as well. And it really controlled the way that I looked at life. I had this why me mentality, feeling like all of these bad things are going to continue to happen to me. One day, not one day, my first year of my injury, I spent a lot of it on the floor, and I constantly had to have help getting up. So 2 years into my injury, I decided to make an entire lifestyle change. So I changed my physical diet, I started working out, and I changed my mental diet. Anything that was constantly negative on social media, I blocked from my life. Any negative emotion or thought that came to me and still comes to me, I take a moment, I evaluate why I'm feeling this negative thought, and then I address it, and then I let it go. If I feel negativity coming and stacking itself, and I feel overwhelmed and overbeared by negativity, I stop. I stop what I'm doing. I take a deep breath, and I think about everything that I have to be grateful for. Gratitude and positivity really go hand in hand. People often tell me how I'm such a positive person, even though the cards I've been dealt has nothing to do with the cards I've been dealt or me as a person. It's what I'm focusing on. I focus on how much opportunity is in my life each day. I focus on how truly blessed I am. You know, I'm a wheelchair user. That's not the end of the world. Because there's this stigma around disability and what it looks like, when this injury happened to me, I had this idea of what a wheelchair user's life looked like, and I'll let you know that idea is completely inaccurate. I thought there was all these limitations and things that I couldn't do because of my situation, which also was not accurate. Life is truly about the perspective that you hold and what you choose to focus your energy on. For me, positivity is the thing that carries me through each day. I believe that positivity is what's helped kickstart my recovery. I have some sensation and very little movement in my legs, but initially I was paralyzed from the middle of my chest down. And that was a complete injury. And I didn't start recovering until that 2-year mark when I added all of those things to my life. Think about if you're having a bad day and you continue to get on social media and see the bad things. You watch a movie about a criminal. Or on the flip side, you get on social media and you just see good news, or you watch comedies and you watch a comedian. Think about how you take in that energy and how your mood shifts when you take in certain perspectives and certain outside resources. What is around us truly does control the way we feel about us and how we face our life's adversity and the day-to-day adversity. And so you have the choice. You can choose to be miserable in your own life and choices, or you can choose positivity. You can choose to look at everything you do have. You can choose not to focus on what you've lost or what you're lacking. Let me ask you this. What would your life look like if you let go of every idea of who you thought you should be or what you thought it should look like? Because when you're focusing on what you don't have, you're not attracting what you want. The power of positivity is real. It is a resource that you can use to unlock the life that you've always wanted to live. I've done it. There's no reason that you can't. Thank you so much for having me, Chris.
Thank you, Jessie. When you look at Jessie and her smile, it's infectious. I think it's impossible to look at her smile and not smile yourself. Jessie touched about the importance of what you feed yourself, your mental diet, especially concerning some of the negativity that unfortunately flows all over social media. And I think that's incredibly important, especially during these challenging times that we are facing today. One thing that Jessie said really hit me, how gratitude and positivity go hand in hand. And I truly believe that. Thanks, Jessie, for a powerful message to start off tonight's forum. I actually met our next speaker via our positivity notes that we were spreading at the time in Texas by my good friend, Damon West. We got the chance to connect, and I love his message. I know we've all heard the saying, 6 degrees of separation, but in this regard, we are only 1 degree separated by one positivity note. I'd like to introduce Chip Baker.
Hello. First, I want to say thanks so much, Chris, for the introduction, and thanks so much for having me. I consider it an honor and a privilege to be here with you today. I really enjoy what you do and how you do what you do. And so I'm truly thankful for the opportunity. But today, I just want to talk a little bit about positivity. You know, positivity has truly helped me in my life. Throughout my life, there's been ups and downs, lots of ups and downs. And I think the constant that has helped me to continue to have growth has been the ability to have a positive mindset. So for me, in my life, it isn't wins and losses, it's wins and learning lessons, because in every setback, you can learn what you need to do to be better the next time. So I think that if you have a positive mindset and a positive perspective about it, it'll allow you to continue to have growth and be better. And there's a quote by Inky Johnson that I really love, and I share this often. But it says, how you view what you do will always affect how you do what you do. So it's about having that positive perspective and positive mindset in anything that you do. And it's super important. I like to tell people that my blood type is B positive, right? And I like to stay away from people that have the blood type of O negative. And that's what we have to do in our life. We have to be positive and find the good in every situation and truly be grateful for the blessings that we do have. I think it's important to remain humble. And when I say humble, I mean, knowing that we are fortunate. Of course, things could be better, but they could also be way worse. So we have to make sure that we remain humble, but then also remain hungry to achieve greatness. And then when I say hungry, And it's not spelled Hungry. For me, hungry is spelled with like 4 O's, right? HOOOONGRY, hungry. So we have to make sure that we stay humble and hungry to continue to achieve greatness. So really, what it boils down to for me is really positivity is where it's at. We have to be positive because it's powerful. Go get it. All right. So again, thanks for the opportunity, Chris. Again, love what you do. Love how you do what you do. Kicking it back to you, my man.
Thank you, Chip. Go get it. It's not about wins and losses, but instead it's about wins and learning lessons. It's very powerful. And I love the quote you shared from Inky Johnson. How you view what you do will always affect how you do what you do. I want to repeat that. How you view what you do will always affect how you do what you do. Not only is that a little bit of a tongue twister, but it's a really powerful quote because your view is hugely important. Chip talked about how his blood type is B positive, and I love the concept of how he tries to avoid and stay away from people with the blood type of O negative. And as Chip said, remain humble and stay hungry. I recently met our next speaker through one of my best friends who ironically works with him. His passion for what he does is easy to see, but his desire to truly bring out the best in his team as well as his players is impossible to miss. I would like to introduce Dr. Ramsey Nijem.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. I'm going to do my very best to give you some value on that time, so let's get into it. Before we jump into the stories and before we exemplify the power of positivity, I have to give a shout out and a thank you to Chris from No Quit Living and the Positivity Tribe for hosting the event and allowing me to be involved. I could not be involved if it wasn't for Coach Q for extending an invite and introducing Chris and I. So thank you, Coach Q. I'm fortunate to work with that man every single day here at the University of Kansas, working with men's basketball. Coach Q's energy and positivity flows throughout the community here and certainly has benefited me, and I do my very best to return that into our guys and bring energy and positivity every day. Let's get right into it here. The date is November 5th, Kansas basketball versus Duke on the grand stage, Madison Square Garden, just less than a year ago. I joined the team 1 month prior to that, early September. I came from an environment in the NBA with the Sacramento Kings 5 years before joining Kansas basketball. I was fortunate to have an opportunity present itself to me to work with Hall of Fame Coach Self and his staff, and obviously I jumped on that opportunity. We trained and we worked hard and we practiced and we drilled every day for a month, leading up to Duke Blue Devils versus Kansas Jayhawks. Rock Chalk, baby. Shout out to the Jayhawk fans that are tuning in. We end up losing that game by simply 2 points, 68-66, with Kansas having a chance at the buzzer. David McCormick, our big man, had a chance to win that game at the end. That shot comes right off the front of the iron and we end up losing that game. Certainly a big loss early in the season for us. Our first loss, first game of the season. So much time and effort had been put into that preparation. So naturally, as most big losses do, they hit you hard, and naturally you have a tendency to kind of put your head down after. We have a great coaching staff who does an amazing job of lifting those heads back up and allowing our guys to see the bigger picture. As the guys enter the weight room, though, 2 days later, November 7th, I felt a burden on myself to change the energy of the team as they walk into that weight room. Really for 2 reasons. It was my first real interaction with a loss with this team. And so I felt like, what I was about to do at the beginning of that training session would set the stage for how they would expect me to respond in losses and respond to adversity. Second to that, we know we have to move on from those losses, right? And so the energy that we bring in this training environment is going to set the stage for moving on, whether it's literally leaving this weight room today acutely into the practice and what energy we bring there. And beyond that, obviously, we're going to play another game pretty soon, and we got to start shifting our mentality and focus towards winning that game. We've got 1 loss up on the board. We've got one game in the season on the board, and we've yet to put a W up. As the guys walk in, I start to ask myself, how do I create impact? How do I spread positivity? And how do I shift us from worrying about a loss to transitioning to a worry about winning in the next play? three things and three keys that I want to leave with you guys today are the things that really drove my energy and how I approached the team that day. As they walk in, I'm extremely hyped. I'm turned up. Let's go, guys. Come on. Y'all can't stop my energy. I'm excited today. That's how I talk to them, of course. And, you know, I'm going off, and they're looking at me like, yo, what's wrong with this guy? We just lost the game, and he's acting like we won. So I'm super turned up. I said, fellas, I'm so excited today. Y'all can't stop my energy. Don't come in here with no bad energy because I'm positive today, and let me tell you why. First things first, big picture thinking. We try to drive home big picture thinking. A loss in November is not a loss in March. And if we have the perspective is a key thing that I want to drive home today. If we have the perspective that this one loss is not going to determine our season, the outcome of our season will be determined in March and Big 12 conference play. Shout out Jayhawks won the Big 12, and obviously deep tournament runs. That's the first thing, is big picture thinking. We can't worry about what happened today. We have to worry about the big picture. In the grand scheme of what our season is going to be, this one loss won't be huge on us. It hurts now, but it won't hurt forever. Second to that, and this is critical. Next play mentality. We try to drive home that next play mentality, with our athletes in sport. And I think it's so important when you bring it into the winning and the losing column. Acutely in a game, you obviously think about those things. Next play, you miss a shot, next play, you miss a defensive assignment, next play. In the win-loss column, it's got to be the same energy. Win or lose, next play. The mentality is we can't worry about the outcome that has already passed because we have to turn our attention to the outcome that's coming in the future in that next game. So next play. Last but not least, what comes to mind is embracing failure. As I'm telling these guys why I'm excited we lost the game. Or not excited we lost the game, but excited for the fact that we've learned from the loss of that game, right? You can't learn through success, and you can a little bit, but certainly you learn faster through failure. We learned a lot about our team that day. We learned a lot about not only the tactical side of things that we can do to get better, but we also learned that when Kansas basketball has 28 turnovers, the number 3 Jayhawks will only lose by 2 points to the number 4 Blue Devils by 2 points with 28 turnovers, right? So the perspective I'm driving home is, fellas, if we had 26 turnovers, we could have won that game. How good is this team going to be if we can have 26 turnovers and still compete at the top level? We had 28 and lost by 2 points with a shot at the buzzer, a chance to win. So the perspective we're driving home is big picture thinking. November and March, right? A loss now is not a loss then, and we're worried about then, so let's not get caught up in the now. Right? Next play mentality, next play, whether it's literally an acute next play, a turnover, a foul, a bad decision defensively, bad shot, you miss a layup, next play mentality in the win-loss column as well. And then certainly last but not least, embrace failure. We've learned so much in this moment and in this game that we are going to take these learning lessons. We're going to practice them. We're going to implement them today in practice. We're going to get better today in practice, and we're going to be a better team for that, right? Those are the 3 key things I really want to bring home. I think about perspective, but I think about big picture thinking. I think about next play mentality, and I think about embracing failure because it's the fastest way to learn. I hope those things resonate with you guys. They certainly resonated with me in that moment on November 7th, just 2 days after our big loss. And if you fast forward to what the Jayhawks were able to do just last year, finishing number 1 in the country, unanimous 17-game win streak and all of those things, and Big 12 champs. And we certainly didn't get a chance to validate those moments in the tournament due to the pandemic, of course. But I think that we certainly have some things we can hang our hats on. And certainly one of the proudest moments of I think our season is the adversity we went through. We learned, we grew, we came together, and we finished as the unanimous number 1 team and a team that was ready for anything. So I hope that stuff resonates with you guys. I hope you can take it, you can apply it in your life, and I really appreciate you giving me the time today to share that. Chris, right back to you, and thank you again.
Thank you, Ramsey, and I really appreciate that message. I like how you shared a story about a 2-point loss last year to Duke, where you decided to make a positive and you had to take away a positive from that tough loss to start your season. You shared 3 things I want to touch on. Number 1, energy and excitement. Number 2, that next play mentality. And number 3, embracing failure. So I challenge everyone to think about and applying those 3 things to your life today. Our next speaker happens to be one of my good friends, who is also joining us as a speaker that joined us for the first 2 forums, and I'm glad he's back here to join us for the 3rd. When I asked him to be a part of this tonight, he didn't even hesitate for 1 second. And I think that there are so many people who comment, support, and like things on social media just to be seen. But when it comes to genuinely supporting others and truly believing in them, Our next speaker is second to none. It is my honor to introduce my good friend, Jeff Forrester.
Chris, thank you so much for that warm introduction. And again, I appreciate you having me on one more time for this We Rise by Lifting Others Up forum. And the focus is on the power of positivity. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine all the time, let it shine. That's a song that I sang as a young boy going to Vacation Bible School, and it brings back a lot of warm memories. And what I want to do is show how that relates to positivity. So a couple of years ago, my family and I, we went to South Dakota to explore the West. And on one of our stops, we stopped at a jewel cave. And what was so incredible about that is we went 300 meters down. And when we got to the bottom, there was a massive chasm, and it was so cool. There were stalactites and stalagmites and all the things that you can imagine. The temperature was unbelievable. And then all of a sudden, the guide brought us all together and said, okay, guess what's next? And you probably can think of, they turned the lights off. When they turn the lights off, it is a darkness that I have never seen before. You could not see anything, hand in front of your face, nothing. You could feel its presence, but you couldn't see it. And then all of a sudden, the guide lights a match, a simple match. This little match filled the room with light. Wasn't a lot, but it was enough to now you could see your hand, you could see features of other people, you could see smiles, you could see eyes from a little match. And then they blew it out and it went dark again. And it was so incredible and so powerful for me. That's positivity. It took an intentional act to light that match, to fill the room with light. Darkness is all around us all the time. And unfortunately, human nature, we tend to go towards the negative. But I'm telling you, the power of one little act of positivity, it can impact everything. What's amazing also is positivity is intentional. And what can happen is even if you're not naturally a positive person, you can program yourself to be positive, but it won't happen by accident. You have to focus and look for the little things that can help. It's a simple gesture to somebody that you're walking by. It's simply just smiling every day. And what's incredible about positivity is infectious. It's like that light coming off that little match. People may not realize it, but they feel it. They see it. It brings things a little better. Think about that person that you know, and we all have that person that we know that is always positive. And just think of how it makes you feel when they just walk into the room. I know my mom's one of those people that as soon as she walks in, the room just fills with energy and positivity and love and excitement. But it's one of those things that it takes determination. It takes a powerful attitude of willpower to create the habit of being positive. So Chris, along with the other panelists, I'm hoping that everybody sees the importance of this, what it takes, what your little match can do, can fill a room full of light, but it takes you striking that match to ignite the light within other people's lives. So I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that's going to speak before and after me. And then I just appreciate you being here and watching this. And I just pray that it hopes that the things that I shared adds value to your life. Chris, again, thank you so much for spreading positivity, for being intentional on making an impact in other people's lives. Back to you and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you, Jeff. Another positive and powerful message. But because I'd like everyone to continue watching tonight's forum, I'm going to leave the singing up to you. Just like you said, positivity is definitely infectious. I can honestly say that I agree with that 100%. And personally, so many of our guests tonight have positively impacted my own life. But per Jeff's message, I challenge everyone tonight and tomorrow to ignite somebody else's light. Our next speaker joins us tonight from the beautiful state of Maryland. When he and I first spoke a couple weeks ago and he shared his story with me, I knew that I had to have him on tonight's forum. It is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, the head football coach at the University of Maryland, Mike Locksley.
Thanks, Chris, for that introduction. I'm really excited to have an opportunity to to really share with you guys the We Rise by Lifting Others Up forum that's been created today. And what a great topic, the power of positivity. You know, when Chris asked me to do this, I had so many things come to mind, so many stories in my life that could relate to the power of being or thinking positively about everything. And, you know, obviously I grew up in the southeast section of Washington, D.C., the southwest section of Washington, D.C., very tough neighborhoods where not a lot of guys make it out. They face incarceration, they face death. I've seen all those things through the community I was born and raised in. So to be able to sit here as the head coach at the University of Maryland, I can tell you this, there was no way to make it to this point in my life if I let or allowed the negative things in my community or in my life to affect my decision making. And I have a story that's pretty unique that kind of encompasses just exactly what and how impactful the power of being positive can affect everything you do. And so, you know, I think back and, you know, as a football coach, I experienced some really highs and then also faced some really low lows. And, you know, obviously the high of my coaching career was winning a national championship as an assistant with Alabama and working under the great Nick Saban. And I can tell you the low of the lows was being fired as a head coach, my first opportunity at the University of New Mexico. And, you know, when I think about my New Mexico experience, and I tell people this all the time, I learned more during the 2 years and 4 games I got to be a head coach at New Mexico and failing than I did the 3 years I spent winning and going to championship games at Alabama under Nick Saban. Because you learn and you grow from failure. And that's where I think the power of positivity comes into play. I can tell you I was in a deep, dark place when I was let go after the 4th game of my 3rd season at New Mexico. And I can remember, you know, as a black head coach going through the experience and the thoughts that we're only going to get one opportunity to lead or be a head coach. And taking that New Mexico job, I was really excited about having one of these opportunities to lead a program, and I failed miserably. And not because of just me, but a lot of the circumstances that I had. But what I'll tell you is the day I got fired, I thought to myself, there you are, Locks, you blew it. You'll never have another chance to be a head coach again. And for about 2 to 3 months, I wrote down everything that I would do differently if I had another opportunity. But I can tell you deep in the back of my mind, I never ever thought I'd get the opportunity to lead a program again. And because of that, that mindset and that thought, I stayed right where I was. I got a chance to move back to Maryland, come home as a coordinator, and still in the back of my mind, I continue to think, you know, probably never get another chance to be a head coach again. I took over as the interim head coach in 2015 at Maryland after my boss was let go midway through the season. And we finished 1-5. And I can remember not wanting to even take the interim head coaching position because I was concerned that if I continued to have losses on my record, I would not be attractive enough to be a head coach again. I applied for the head coaching position in 2015 at the University of Maryland, and I didn't get the job. And it wasn't until after that I had a conversation with my mentor, Debbie Yao, who at the time was the athletic director at North Carolina State. And I just remember her telling me that, you know, Michael, failure is not final. And until you adjust your thoughts and you adjust your mindset with the negativity of you'll never be a head coach again, you'll never have or move forward in this profession. And it was from that conversation that a light went off for me. And I began to work from a mindset that I will become a head coach again. And that in itself, just making the decision to say it out loud, to say it to myself that I can and I will become a head coach again, really afforded me some clarity to put together a plan to figure out just how I would go about doing it. I was a failed head coach at New Mexico. I didn't get the job at Maryland as an interim head coach. And now I was in between the decision of what do I do next in my career? And the conversation with Debbie Yao of changing your mindset and your thought process And just the clarity that it provided me put me on a path that to this day, if it wasn't for the change of the mindset to becoming positive thoughts, positive energy, every day I woke up, my life was built around how do I improve my situation to possibly put me in a place to be a head coach again. I made a decision to take a job with Alabama and Nick Saban in an off the field role. I was fortunate that I had a contract that provided me that opportunity, but it was being around the Alabama program and Nick Saban in an off the field role where I was kind of behind the scenes. And during this time, that 1 year in 2016, all I did was prepare myself for the next opportunity for me to become a head coach. And I'll leave you with this. I'm now the head coach at the University of Maryland. My dream job. I'm here at home, coaching and leading a program that I grew up rooting for, that I spent time here and had great success as an assistant. And had I stayed in that mindset when I lost my opportunity to be a head coach at New Mexico, and not had that conversation with Debbie Yao and adjusted, just saying it out loud and making a decision that, you know what, I'm putting everything into becoming a head coach again, regardless of my past, regardless of my failures. And it just provided me with just so much clarity to put together the plan of taking the job at Alabama off the field, working in a program that has had tremendous success like the University of Alabama and under Nick Saban, who'd had great success, and then using that opportunity and those experiences to then put me on a platform to become the head coach of my dream job. I appreciate Chris giving me the opportunity to just share a story, and I hope it affects, or maybe if one person hears this story and understands failure is not final. And the minute you make the decision that you can and you will do something and you attack it from a positive mindset, a positive thought, from positive thoughts, it's just around the corner. And you know what? Guess what? If I didn't ever become a head coach again, my thought and my mindset just gave me so much clarity that it provided me with opportunities that I was in a much better place. So again, Chris, thanks so much for the opportunity, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mike. That really is a very powerful message. From winning a national football championship at Alabama with Coach Nick Saban to getting fired and eventually leading to your dream job, what you said is so true. Failure is not final. Think about that for a second in your own life. Perhaps there are areas concerning failure where you maybe need to change that narrative. Just like Mike's message, I want to share another quote by Zig Ziglar. Failure is an event, not a person. Think about that for a second. Failure is an event, not a person. Change your own channel on failure and change your mindset towards positive thoughts and positive energy. I've known our next speaker for the past couple of years, and I'm glad to call her a personal friend. As a professional coach, she's all about spreading positivity, not only with her clients, but others as well. I'd like to introduce my friend, Natalia Dayan.
Chris, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I am so thankful and blessed to be here today with you and all the other speakers, and especially those that are watching and here for this amazing content. So before I dive into what the power of positivity means for me, I first want to anchor those that are listening into what positivity means for you. I think when I was reflecting back on this and what, my experience and relationship has been with positivity, I realized that there's really two ways to experience positivity. And I think the majority of us fit into one bucket, right? And really like the power of positivity is actually in the other bucket. So this first bucket, right, is the external experience and interaction, or you could say the action of positivity and being positive or showing up positive in your life, right? That whole aspect, that whole notion of being positive is much different than the second experience of positivity, which is feeling positive, right? Really being connected internally with yourself to positivity. Now, I bring this up because I struggled, and most people don't know this, but I struggled with depression for 15 years. And it was at the peak of my depression, or as I was just, you could say, deciding or empowering myself to move out of this experience, this depressive experience for myself, that I realized how much I was showing up, quote unquote, positively in my life, in the way that I was engaging and being with other people, but that I wasn't really connected to positivity within myself. Obviously, I wasn't, because I was struggling so much and had struggled so long with depression, right? And that was where I really found a hard time within myself, was really feeling joy, right? Like that for me, when I think of positivity and feeling connected to positivity, the emotions that come up for me in that thought are the emotions of joy and happiness, satisfaction, fulfillment, right? These more elevated experiences and emotions that we can feel within ourselves. And back then, I really, like, if somebody would have asked me, like, what does joy look and feel like for you? I wouldn't really know, not because I was never experiencing joy out in the world around me, but because I wasn't connected to joy in the world, in my inner world, right? In the world within me. And so as a result, right, because I had this filter, like this depression that was really the filter for all of my experiences, I could have been showing up and interacting in a way that seemed positive or was joyous or was happy, but on the inside, I wasn't really experiencing that. And so I remember the exact day when I woke up and I decided that I was done feeling this way, done feeling disconnected, done feeling, depressed, done allowing myself to use depression as the filter by which I was experiencing my own life. I had realized just how disempowering that perspective was for me, and how, so long as I continued to choose this experience for myself, I was never going to experience something else other than what I had already known for the last 15 years of my life. And so I really just got fed up. And that's really what this moment was about for me, was being fed up with this day in, day out experience of not being connected to something that felt better. And so from that day forward, I chose to feel better about myself, within myself, in my own life. Now, for those of you watching, when it comes to positivity, again, I want to anchor you in what positivity feels and looks like within yourself. I would encourage you to ask yourself, when do I feel like I'm actually positive, right? When do I feel connected to elevated emotions of joy and happiness, positivity, fulfillment? What does that look like for me? Also, where is the disconnect between how I'm showing up and how I'm showing up and engaging with others, and how I am actually feeling on the inside during those engagements? And if there is a gap there, I think what that really means and indicates for us is that we've left ourselves out of this equation, right? We're not really present in this moment, but we're also allowing ourselves to be taken away from these elevated emotions because we're not connecting within ourselves. But the reason why we don't connect is not because we don't want to. It's usually because we haven't created the time, right, to connect with ourselves, to be present within ourselves, but also because we just don't even know what that experience looks and feels like within ourselves for ourselves, right? And for me, again, moving out of this time in my life, this was now nearly 15 years ago that I was struggling with depression. I had no idea what joy looked and felt like for myself, but I also didn't create space within my life and within myself to connect with that deeply and personally. I had to get to know myself, in other words. And I think that is at the core for anybody who is experiencing stress or depression or anything that pulls them out of being fully present and joyous in the moment, and truly not just being positive or experiencing positivity, but feeling positive and being connected to positivity within themselves, right? So really get to know who you are, what positivity looks and feels like for you, what it means to be authentically positive, and how what that looks and feels like as well, because positivity doesn't always look and feel the same for everybody. And I think we often put pressure on ourselves that we have to show up positively, and that needs to look a certain way in order for other people to experience it. But the truth and the core of it is that positivity first serves you in your own experience. And as a result of you feeling connected to positivity within yourself, it then radiates outwards to others, towards others, in the things that you do, in the experiences that you're having, in the connections that you're making, right? And as a result, you will then have have a positive impact on those that you're experiencing those things with, and then as a result, they will see you as being a positive person, right? But what matters most in that equation is you experiencing positivity within yourself. And the way that you do that is to connect with positivity within yourself, to know yourself and know what that means to you, how you experience it, how you feel it, and then how you embody it, right? In a way that feels authentic and genuine, and not in a way that feels like pressure or like you should be interacting with those around you. So I would hope that this has brought you immense value. Like I said, it's really just a practice. It really is a daily practice for you to connect with yourself, to give yourself permission to feel into what feels good for you, how that looks, how that feels, how you embody that, right? And then from there, allow that to be from the inside out what radiates towards others, and to create a truly positive and powerful experience, right? And for me, that is the power of positivity. It is the way in which we first experience it within ourselves, and as a result, impact and influence the world and others around us. Chris, thank you so much for having me here. I am so excited to hear the other speakers as we continue through this, and I'll go ahead and throw it back to you.
Thank you, Natalia. And I appreciate your candor sharing how you struggled with depression for 15 years. I think, unfortunately, during these challenging times, many people are also struggling. I love how you changed your own channel and made a decision to experience positivity first for yourself. The power of positivity is definitely real, and it first needs to be done within yourself, internally, and then to others. Our next speaker happens to be one of my own accountability partners, and someone I speak to on a daily basis, whether it's through text messages, direct messages, or even the Marco Polo app. He has added value both to my life as well as positivity to my life, and I know that he'll do the same for you tonight. My good friend, Chris Wilberding.
Hey, Chris, thank you for that wonderful introduction. And I'm so pleased to be with you this Wednesday evening and being a part of the third We Rise by Lifting Others Up forum. When Chris asked me to be a part of this evening, I couldn't say yes fast enough. I know the importance of positivity in my day-to-day life, and I hope over the next few minutes I can share that with each of you. Positivity has been a lifelong goal of mine, and it's been a personal development pursuit that I've had for several years, because I know that our world can be really negative at times, but I wanted to continue developing from an optimistic kid to an optimistic adult to an even more positive influence on others around me. I want to share 3 things with you today. I think the first is likely the most important. Every morning you wake up with a choice. Every morning, when you don't hit snooze on your alarm clock and you jump out of bed, you have the choice to have a good attitude or a bad attitude. You can choose positivity over negativity. And I can't help but understand or wonder, why would somebody choose negativity? It doesn't make any sense to me. Who chooses bad over good? When you wake up, win the day. Take the opportunity to go out and have that positive growth mindset so you can impact others in a great way. I know for me personally, it's taken time to get there, because some mornings I don't want to get up as much as others. But any given day, if you would ask me, am I excited to wake up or not? 75 to 90% of the time, I'm excited to wake up. Why did I say 75? There are days that we go hard, we're tired, and we just want to rest a little bit longer. But 9 out of 10 times, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to accomplish things. I'm ready to make things happen. I'm ready to positively impact people one person at a time, make our community a better place. That's the power of positivity that I've chosen, and it's something that I'm really excited to share today. But every morning, you have that choice. The choice is yours. Make that choice a positive one. Look at things from a beyond half full glass mentality. That's the real key here. Wake up excited and be positive. Second, feed your brain positivity. Feed your brain positivity. Choose positivity over everything. Many of us utilize social media. I've met many of the folks on this call tonight that are presenting. I've met them through social media. What's attracted me to them is they have a positive mindset and they feed their mind with positivity. I have muted negativity in my life. I've changed the algorithm in my social media Did you know you can do that? You can actually change the algorithm for your social media so you don't see bad news or negative things anymore. It takes time, but that algorithm not only impacts social media, it impacts your mind. What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Those are the keys. Feed this brain, this fantastic computer that you have inside your head, feed it with positivity. Feed it with things that are going to make you feel better, make others feel better. Feed it with books. Read as much as you can from the positivity side. Look into authors. Listen to positive podcasts. Listen to the No Quit Living podcast. But find things that make you the best version of yourself. And that will never happen by taking a negative approach. The third thing, positivity always wins. There's a lot of negativity in our world today. There's a lot of people that have listened to and learned that negative mindset, whether it comes from our media, whether it comes from making choices on your social media, whether it comes from listening to others that have a half-empty mentality or a scarcity mindset. Positivity always wins. How? Optimism. If you believe good things are going to happen to you, good things will happen to you. If you believe bad things will happen to you, they will. But you control it here. So feed your mind with positivity. It always wins. It always will. But you have to choose it. Again, 3 things. Wake up in the morning, choose to have a positive mindset. Second, feed your brain with positivity with what you read, what you listen to, what you digest mentally. And then third, positivity always wins, but it starts with you. Chris, as you can tell, I get a little fired up about the positivity and the power that it can have over us as people. I've seen it work firsthand for myself. I've seen it work for others. I appreciate being a part of this event. I can't wait till number 4, whenever that may happen. But again, we rise by lifting others up. Have a great Wednesday evening, folks. I look forward to talking to each of you again real soon. Chris, it's back to you.
Thanks, Chris. 3 very powerful takeaways that I think we all should think about. Number 1, wake up each day and choose positivity. Number 2, feed your brain with positivity and mute negativity. And number 3, and probably my favorite, positivity always wins. Yes, yes, and yes. I personally could not agree more with those 3 lessons. Our next guest happens to be one of my best friends, and since Corona hit back in March, I think that he and I have spoken every single day, whether it's via text message, a direct message, or over on the phone. And I'm so proud of him and how he has not only embraced these challenging times, but how he is leading with positivity, not only for himself, his family, but also his team. I'd like to introduce my dear friend, Fred Korlbaum.
Hey, Chris. Super excited to be back and a part of this incredible We Rise by Lifting Others Up forum, and along with some dynamic and outstanding speakers on positivity, teamwork, and leadership. But before I share, I want to congratulate you on writing your first book, The Positivity Tribe. I've read it, I loved it, and I anticipate the book being on the shelves of many who are searching for positivity in their homes, businesses, locker rooms, communities, and in schools throughout the course of the country. You know, I was reminded the other day that one of life's most valuable gifts is our ability of being in the moment, be it by connection or engagement. And that really struck a chord with me. It allowed me to reflect, to even ask myself, how am I using the moment with purpose and intent? Are they being used in a way to benefit others? Am I growing? Am I learning? Am I connecting positively within these moments? Or am I allowing my workload, the business of the day, yesterday's 1-point loss, or tomorrow's unknown to be the focal point on how I spend those moments? And there I realized that the moments I was experiencing were in reality my moments, that I was the creator, I was the author, I am the frontliner of my moment. I rarely use the word selfish, but in this case, I wanted to selfishly use my moments and fill them up with heavy doses of gratitude, service, understanding, caring, kindness, and all the qualities that connect with positivity. Now, as you know, the challenge for all of us is that adversity, uncertainty, setbacks, anxiety, fear, in other words that connect with discomfort, will test our moments. They'll question our moments and even challenge our moments. We've all been there. That moment the emotion strikes, I found the best medicine is to do something nice for someone else, whether it be a gratitude call, a text message, or even dropping a thoughtful note in the mail, because everyone likes to get good mail, as long as it's not a bill. You know, MLK said it best. The ultimate measure of a person is not where they stand in moments of comfort and convenience, but where one stands of challenge, of controversy. Therefore, it's extremely important that we fill our moments with ingredients that will serve us, but also serve the people around us in a positive way. Think about if we all share random acts of kindness to others. When you multiply those selfless experiences by millions, now that's powerful. That's a game changer. That's a society changer. They say books are like the cheat code to life. So I recently read The Precious Present by Dr. Spencer Johnson, and he stated that the precious present is not something that is given to you, it's a gift that you give to yourself. It's a great read, and for those like you, like myself, that are striving and working to fill their moments with positivity, remember to never underestimate the power to change yourself. And also, realizing that it's okay to not be in that space for 86,400 seconds within that day. That's what makes us human, and the process does require effort. So, for example, if I'm in a conversation with my wife, I'll catch myself by asking her to repeat what she just said, knowing that's my cue that I'm not where I'm supposed to be. My accountability partner Seth and I had a conversation, and he shared with me how important it is to be present and be in the moment, not only with myself, but with others. And it's not important not to judge or compare yourself today based off past places in the world, whether it be physically, spiritually, or even mentally. So I encourage you to be the best you today. Work on you right now and remove any negative thoughts or any limited language like if only I had or if only I were. So go out and be the best version of you, and remember to create your moments of love, of gratitude, of service and kindness. And I promise you, your moments will bring eternal joy and an abundance to others. So Chris, thanks again for allowing me to share, and without a doubt, we rise by lifting others up. Thank you.
Thanks, Q, for a very powerful message. It is so important to be in the moment, and sharing random acts of kindness for others and to others is something that we can all do, and it's something that doesn't have to cost us $1. And the reality is, its impact can be immense. The quote you shared about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is incredible. The ultimate measure of man is not where he stands in moments of convenience and comfort, but where he stands of times of challenge and controversy. I'm going to repeat that. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of convenience and comfort, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Right now, we are definitely experiencing challenging times. These are unprecedented times that we have never experienced as a country or throughout the world. And I would like to leave you with a quote by W. Clement Stone. There is a little difference in people. That little difference makes a big difference. The little difference is attitude. The big difference is whether that attitude is positive or negative. So as we end today's forum, I challenge each and every one of you, when you get off of this webinar, to take action. Take positive action. Choose positivity first for yourself and then for others. It's not easy to choose positivity, but it is possible, and it's something that we can all do. I hope you took notes, and hope that today's forum added value to you. And I hope that you can be a positive leader and you can add positive value to others. I would like to thank you. I would like to thank each and every one of you that are watching this live right now, and for those that will watch at a later date. And remember, we rise by lifting others up.